I didn't love myself, and you give power and influence to the wrong people. Look how it turns out. You have to hype yourself up and nobody else on the external side to keep up. You have. All right, guys, welcome back to Ascension with V. I'm your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V, and today we're going to talk about something that hit me while I did the 6-1 Oracle reading for the week. I just got through recording it, and I'm going to post that one also on YouTube because God Source Universe told me to, because more people needed to hear it than just the Patreon. So that will be uploaded tomorrow, I guess. Anyways, but while I was doing the Oracle reading, a message came through and I was like, oh, I need to talk about that on the Ascension with V podcast. And the topic was, you have grown so much that a lot of the things that you once wanted, people, places, and things that you once wanted are no longer a desire of yours. And being okay with that. So God Source Universe does this thing where before they get ready to release kind of the world is your oyster type of demeanor to you, you go through the phase of all the kind of greed and lustful desires kind of being stripped away and burned from you and removed from you at all kinds of capacities and levels. And so then by the time you reach the level of kind of being restriction free, having abundance in all areas and being free to do and have whatever you desire or want in this world, there's really not anything that you want, like in the material aspect. And it feels like this is what a large number of people are stepping into. I always say, this is definitely, I can absolutely confirm that the 250 are about to go through this, but outside of the 250, there are others that are getting ready to embark upon this kind of peculiar change within their life, because when you've done so much internal work within the self, like you just want more and more peace. You want peace, you want joy, you want happiness. You just want to be serving your purpose and serving those who you're meant to lead and guide and, share your light and voice with the world more than anything. And, the kind of dreams and desires and wants and needs that you had prior to kind of getting to this point oftentimes get ripped from you, because a lot of times those were not even your own wants or dreams or goals. They were kind of the dreams and goals of maybe parents, maybe authoritative figures, maybe teachers, maybe, just people around you who wanted you to be, say, like an actor or an actress, or they wanted you to be some sort of like in the spotlight athlete, like a D1 athlete, first draft pick for football, baseball, track, something of this nature, where you're just out there making millions upon millions upon millions upon millions every hour, and the spotlight is on you and everybody knows you kind of situation, or they wanted you to become like the world-class, world-renowned doctor or world-renowned lawyer, or whatever this is. It's like a lot of us in our younger years, we had these kind of dreams and desires, and not all the time were they our own. They were what we thought we had to be or become in order to be quote unquote successful by our terms. But now a lot of people, and again, there's some people that I've talked to and spoken with recently who were a part of that, in their older 50s and 60s, and they're telling me like, I'm now making a change in my life, because I'm realizing this isn't for me. This isn't what I wanted. And that's what I'm talking about right here, is a lot of us are experiencing this change in our wants, needs, and desires, because we have grown and healed and up-leveled so much within ourselves that, again, these things from the past hold no relevance to us anymore. And it's interesting, because not long ago I was talking to my mother and I said the same thing. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. We're trying to figure out what I'm going to do for my birthday in September. It's the big one. It's the 33 birthday, and God Source Universe is like, so what you gonna do? And so I've been getting it from all the angles of, in the spirit and in physical. People ask me, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I can't come up with nothing. There's really nothing that I want to do that is piquing my interest, that's screaming out to me like, hey, this is what I want to do, or this is where I want to go. And I've said every year it's become increasingly more difficult to say, I want this, or I want to go here, or oh, I want to do this, because it's like increasing apathy. Like I'm becoming ever more apathetic towards the material world. And it's really interesting. It's a rough thing to kind of process from a humanistic mind, because obviously as a human, there are physical needs that the body needs to have. And beyond that, you're not just supposed to just kind of be sitting idly by yourself and doing nothing all the time. But yet and still internally, that's kind of how I feel. I'm like, I'm just gonna kick it. I don't really want anything. And that's the process that it appears is the new status quo for anybody that's getting ready to step into a divine authoritative leadership position of this new incarnation that we're in this new phase of world and existence that we're in currently, where you're it's like before God source universe opens the floodgates for you to have it all, you lose the desire to want it all. And I think that's a beautiful thing, in the fact of there will no longer be any more of the people, places, and things that we once had in this world, that we're purging from this world, who that was their entire MO. That's what they were driven off of. That's what they wanted. That's what their goal was. More money, more power, more sex, more this, that, and the third, and just very toxic, dark, masculine focused type of situation. You know what I mean? And this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, where we're a lot of us are no longer in that position where we're wanting a lot of things in the material world, or in the material aspects. And it's, again, interesting. The thought that came up while I was doing the reading was not feeling like you need to hold on to those things that are no longer equally relevant, equally yoked to you in your life, and where you're at in this new point of your growth, of your healing, of your ascension, of your being, right? Because you're not who you were, originally, when that started out, when you had that vision or those goals for yourself. You've grown. And it's okay to shift your desires, and it's okay to no longer want those things, and it's okay to say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to follow, my soul's path, or I want to follow what it is that makes me happy, or that I'm truly passionate about, instead of following the way that others wanted, or laid out for you, or the way that kind of the old world made you think that you had to do or be to become successful, or to be accepted, whatever the case may be here, right? But the biggest thing is not continuing to follow that same outdated path that you were on before you reached this point in your growth, just because you've been on it for a long time, or that's what you were used to, or that's what you think you should be continuing to do. Again, just because time has been invested on that path, or in that version of you, or in that goal, or that dream, or that career, whatever the case may be, right? Because the longer that you stay, in something that and can feel has expired, that you are well past that point of staying in, your soul is going to continuously get louder and louder and louder. And then, like I said, that the God source universe steps in and starts starts clearing shit out the way, and creating a whole bunch of tower moments and uncomfortable situations in your life, to get you out of whatever pattern or path or career or relationship that you are beyond your expiration date with, or in. And those times are never those times are never the greatest, and they usually come with a lot of pain, and they usually come with a lot of trauma, and they usually come with a lot of hard learned lessons. So if you are listening to this and you're like, I have been hearing my soul. I have been hearing, that I need to, do something different, or this isn't for me, or you've been feeling that, when you go somewhere, you go to a place and it feels outdated. Not like not like physically you can see that nothing has changed since 1923 within the establishment or whatever. That's not what I mean. I mean like you walk into a place and you can feel like stale energy. It feels old, like old energy to you. It feels like you shouldn't be there. It feels like you're out of place. Is because you are, and you're no longer meant to be in that place anymore. And same thing with people. If people come across you, even if these are people who you used to have like a really, really deep connection with, or say this used to be like your teenage heartthrob, or I'll take it even a step further because because listen, some of us are getting ready to reach into that pool of like celebrity status. So maybe this was like your celebrity crush some time ago, and you guys run into each other one day and they're feeling you, and this used to be somebody when you were younger that like if you ever saw them and they were like, "Hey, do you wanna be with me? You wanna go out on a date with me?" You would immediately be like, "Yes, yes, and 1,000 times yes." But now in this version of yourself, you come across the same person, you don't even kind of like look their way, but they're all on you. They want your attention, they want your time, they want your affection. If you don't have the same reciprocal feelings for you, like it's just a no, it's just a hard pass. And that for you should be more than anything confirmation of just how far you've grown and just how far you've come. And and let it be let it be that, because there's it does feel like there's a lot of things that have changed and are changing for the highest good of your life, of the world. And as such, a lot of people within it are no longer interested in people, places, and things, that they once were, like I said. So don't feel bad about having to say no to things that you used to want really badly, to people that you used to want to be with really badly, to opportunities that you once wanted really badly, because it does. The energy feels like, because again, it's kind of like God source universe it's like all those dreams and desires got put on hold until you could get to this point of no longer being thirsty for it, so that you could see with clear perceptive vision what is or is not in alignment with you, and what's coming from like a spot of ego and just wanting external validation, and what's coming from your soul and being like, yes, this is for me, this is what's within my soul's blueprint, this is what I'm passionate about. Right. And you could only do that once you got to the point of releasing those desires and not wanting it so badly anymore, not wanting it to the point of being willing to do anything and everything to get it, and that's where a lot of us are, especially you 250. This is where you're coming into this point of the world is your oyster and you can have it all, and the restrictions are coming off, and you will have the money and the presence and the power to be able to have a lot of the things that you once wanted. But it's like kind of like four of cups energy. You don't want it anymore. um I I just wanted to come on here and make this short podcast episode about this, to kind of touch on it, to follow up on. Don't feel bad. Just don't feel bad for having to let things go that used to be a large part of who you thought you were. But again, let me reiterate the fact of who you thought you were and who you thought you had to become in order to become successful, in order to be accepted in the world, or to thrive, or whatever the case may be here, right? So whatever it is that you're now being put on the path to be doing, it's going to be in alignment with your highest self, destiny, and timeline. It's what God Source Universe has been holding out for so long in order for you to reach this point, right? It's huge. It's a big deal. It's a big thing, and it required you to have big growth before you could access it, before you could become granted this this freedom. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap this short podcast episode up here. Don't forget that you can book a one-on-one session with me, apply for a one-on-one session with me using the Linktree link. I have a whole bunch of new things in the Linktree, new merch, new spiritual protection items are in there, new PDFs for purchase are in there, and a whole lot of good things. So don't forget to check that out. And of course, like I said, the application form to work one-on-one with me is on there too. The New Earth Guidebook to Healing and Ascension is also there. And I think that's it. Until next time, I'll see you guys. V Squad.